Welcome, everyone, once again to SuppTalk Radio. Today we talk legal pro hormones. My guest tonight is a Golden Gloves winner, competitive bodybuilder, nutritionist, and training specialist. Allow me to introduce David Reid of Liquid Labs. David, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me, Sean. I really appreciate it.
David, I have to say, it's an honor having you on. I was actually attracted to you guys, obviously, doing some freelancing with you folks. And I've actually been very impressed. I'm using the Liquid Labs PR, and very happy with it. And figured, let's let the masses know about the company, about the products, and do what we do best. So, David, tell me more about your background. Obviously, you're a competitive bodybuilder.
Yeah, I started bodybuilding. I mean, I'm 49 now, but I started bodybuilding back when I was around 2021. I did my first show in 1987. And, I mean, we're back. I'm talking back when the NPC didn't, like in the show I did, there wasn't even a weight class. There was like 32 guys on stage, and they lined us up from shortest to tallest. I'm 5'9", so I was somewhere in the middle. So, it was kind of interesting. But I think I didn't even know how to diet. I think I went from like 230 to 188 in 9 weeks. And, obviously, I mean, I learned more as I went along, but that's kind of what started it all off. And then, I did like a bunch of shows back then. I think I did like 13 shows between 87 and 90. I won 11 or 12 of them. I won my weight. I didn't win the overalls and all of them, but I won some overalls too. And then I just said, I'm sick of this sport, so I kind of quit and I came back in 96, did shows 96, 97, 98, then quit and came back 04, 05, quit and just came back this year, and I did our state championship show, and then I went to Masters Nationals, and I took fourth in the super heavies at the over 40 Masters Nationals. So I was pretty happy with that for coming back after 10 years off. So,
what got you? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I got into lifting because I played college football, and my friends that I saw come back for homecoming were all fat, and I was like, man, I'm not gonna get like that. I just said I gotta keep lifting weights. And I wasn't really in love with like bodybuilding. It's kind of been a love-hate thing. Like, I love training. I don't really care for, the day of the show is like almost like anticlimactic to me, because it's like I put in all the work up to that point. Everything that you've done at that point is what makes it special. That day is just like, people always see me and they go, man, you look so calm up there. And I said, because I really don't care. It's like I did everything I could do. There's nothing to worry about at this point. You know what I'm saying? So preparation is everything to me. So.
Was there? Now I know you said bodybuilding wasn't that important to you. Was there a bodybuilder's physique that you trying to emulate, or maybe someone that you really liked?
When I was a kid, I used to look at the magazines, and the one guy that used to stand out to me just because he was freaky big back then was a guy named Bertil Fox. And I think right now he's serving a life sentence in like St. Kitts for killing his girlfriend and her mother or some craziness. But
Ellie McNeil, his wife. Yep, I remember the story.
Yeah, he was a big dude, and I remember back then like watching him. I was like, he could bench over 500 pounds. He was doing like 85-pound dumbbell laterals and things that just seemed insane at the time. But as I've gotten, obviously bodybuilding has continued up this, meteoric like change in how physiques look. So, what was big in 1983 is pretty. That might not win a state show. So.
In your opinion, is bodybuilding on the right path, or is it? I know we took that during the early 2000s, with the distended bellies. But are we going towards the right path again, or do you think bodybuilding's still kind of a little, not where it should be? When you look at the pros of this.
The guys, like a good friend of mine, Steve Kuklo, and I admire his physique because he's not cartoonish. He's a big guy. Like, trust me, when you're standing next to a guy who's 290 pounds with, veins and abs, and he's like close to 6 feet. He takes up a lot of space. But, then when you see some of these guys, like, everybody loves Big Ramy, and I don't care for his look, to be honest. And I'm kind of a bigger guy at myself, and when I compete, like, at our stage show, I was one of the biggest people on stage, at like 5'9", 235 pounds. But, like, I don't care for that look when it gets too much. It just screams of, like, synthol and other things that to me shouldn't even be part of this sport. Like when you start seeing guys with these like cartoonish delts and you don't see one striation in them. Like even when I went to Masters Nationals, I was a little surprised because some of the guys, they were just massive. I was a super heavy. I felt like a flea up there. And But when I was hitting like most musculars, you could see all the striations in my delts, and I look at the other guys, and their delts were way bigger than mine, but they just weren't like, there was no cuts in them. And I'm looking at their bodies and go, the guy's hard as nails, you know. You can see the separation of his quads and everything, but certain areas, it's like, it seems like people load up on like synthol and delts, tries, buys, and I don't really care for that look. I mean, I think, you know, maybe this classic physique division that they're bringing out in 2016 will be, you know, pull some of the smaller guys back to the center. I think it's almost like they're trying to correct it in a sense like they did with, you know, they just phased women's bodybuilding right out of the Olympia. Because, you know, but my fear is, like, when you're watching women's physique now, they're starting to get harder and harder and harder. And, like, they're pushing that envelope again. It's like, I think somewhere along the line the judging has to say, enough's enough. Like, let's go for, I'm not saying go back to Frank Zane, but more balance and more, you know, something in the middle that's a happy medium. I don't really care for seeing a 5'9", 300-pound guy with, like, you know, 34-inch quads that's just cartoonishly large. And, I mean, at that point, there's no way anybody, I don't care what people say, you know, genetics. I have really good genetics for growing muscle, too, but I'm not that size, and it's because I refuse to turn myself into a petri dish, you know what I'm saying? So.
No, I hear you. So let's talk a little bit more about the company Liquid Labs. How long have you guys been in business?
Well, the Liquid Labs brand's been around pretty much since Eric started. He didn't start Mind and Muscle. It was a forum and stuff, and he bought the forum and bought the name and stuff like that. It was a pretty successful place. A lot of really smart guys. Guys like, you know, Patrick Arnold were on there. And Eric, the owner of the company, Marshowitz, he's a brilliant guy. I mean, you sit down and have a conversation, he's like mad scientist smart. It's amazing to listen to. Like, I can sit and go, really, how do you know that? Like, I mean, he just combs through studies and finds things. And, you know, so it's really his passion and his vision that's made this company go in the direction it has. And, you know, he started LG. And so with LG, you know, that thing took off like wildfire. And, I mean, he was right there at the frontier of pro hormones back, you know, all the way through riding up till, you know, DASCA in like 2014 where they passed legislation to ban any kind of designer, you know, steroids. So they, you know, the luck of the thing is that he saw the writing on the wall, and he actually turned around and patented like 1 DHEA, 4 DHE, 19 NOR. So any of those products that are being sold around the country are being bootlegged against our like patent, right? So we could literally sue them. But seeing as we sold LG to High-Tech's a huge company, like $65 million large, they won't be so friendly. They have a battery of attorneys, and I know that they're already running down who's selling stuff that's not supposed to be. We weren't really litigious, so we didn't really want to bother chasing people. But those guys have an arsenal of lawyers, so they'll make sure that whoever's bootlegging products is going to probably have to cease this.
Well, it's obviously no joke fighting the FDA with the DMAA category.
Yeah, I mean, Jared, he's a man to be reckoned with, you know. And honestly, this entire industry should like bow down to that guy, because anybody in general, even consumers, because what he's doing, he's not just fighting for DMAA, he's fighting for your right to have supplements. Because every year it seems like there's, you know, like Waxman and all these other, you know, senators, and they're always trying to come after like supplements, and it's like you wonder why. And I'm like, to me it's big pharma putting the push on to control all this stuff. They want to sell you vitamins, they want to sell you all the things you've been able to take. You know, they want to slander and pull that back in house. To me, it's, I don't know, I like the freedom of choosing what I want to buy and where I want to buy it, not, oh, you can go to your doctor and then he'll write you an expensive script to get, you know, creatine or something of that nature. Yep. So, you know, I'm a fan of people that stand up for things. And, you know, we'll see how it goes. I mean, it's like from everything I've read, I mean, High-Tech's put it to the government pretty good. The FDA is a little bit, you know, I think they've overstepped in some areas. So, I don't know. I like that he's doing it for us. So,
I don't think, like you said, I think the FDA, you know, I'm going to coin the phrase, is kind of quick in their boots, because I don't think anybody's ever stood up from the supplement side to the FDA, and they probably don't know what the hell to do or how to handle it.
I agree, because I think, like, you know, you had to have somebody that was going to be the divining rod in this kind of argument, because, you know, the FDA just stepped in and summarily banned DMAA without, like, you have to have like on their side, they need to prove that this has been injurious. More people die every year of taking aspirin and NSAIDs. There's like 7,600 people die a year in this country from taking ibuprofen and aspirin, things of that nature, naproxen. Nobody's talking about that. They talk about like a few deaths that have been implicated in DMAA, just like ephedra got banned. But, who's taking it? The one pitcher that died, he had like heart problems. Like, why would he be taking ephedra? It's like notorious for affecting your cardio, like your cardiovascular function is going to be, I don't know. I'm always like, listen, like look at it, and I understand like it's sad that things happen and people die, and unfortunately, but nobody ever talks about all the people that die from legitimate pharmaceuticals, and that's never an argument or a statement by, I think, I don't know how many people died from Vioxx and Celebrex and all that before, COX-2 inhibitors, before they turned around and said, oh, hey, we have to take these off the market. They allowed it to go on market, and then it killed a bunch of people, and then they took it off the market. So to me, they lose like some credibility in their arguments. So
no, I agree. And a lot of times when they ban a supplement like ephedra, many times they don't actually tell you that, yes, the normal person will take, 10, 20 micrograms or milligrams, whatever it was years ago, but the person that dies took 200 milligrams or something. They always seem to overlook that as well. But I'm very passionate like you are. I think, a lot of things, you harp on the bad, but you don't really get down to the nitty-gritty of, what was wrong with the person, like you're saying, heart problems or what the dosage was. But, we could be on the phone here for hours talking about that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But, with us, we just, Liquid Labs just keeps evolving. Eric is like, he's like always at the chalkboard, thinking of things, and we bandy about like different ideas, and we'll talk and I say, hey, we should do this or we should do this, and these are the things that are hot points in this industry right now, and obviously we're the game when it comes to pro hormones. There's 3 companies that are legitimately the leaders in pro hormones. That's Liquid Labs line from Mind and Muscle. You have LG, which we sold, and AMS, which we sold to High Tech. So legitimately the same source of all of this is coming from one place. The same brainchild is, come down the line. So I know Jared's doing some things with LG, but, our line, like we love our line because these were put together by, an MD that was involved in the process of developing these, as well as, Eric, who's got more experience in pro hormones than just about anybody. You're talking like Patrick Arnold and some of those guys in the upper echelon of, and we've had some really brilliant biochemists that have had things in on that product development as well. So you got to take your hats off to a lot of people that have been in the process of this stuff.
It's good. It sounds like a lot of research, a lot of development going on to create some good products. But let's start jumping into some of the products themselves. Let's spend a few minutes and maybe start off with TE. People that are not familiar with it, maybe you can give a very quick overview of what it is and maybe what kind of effects people can look using the product.
Well, TE is the base in both our basic mass stack and your basic cut stack. It's kind of based on this theory that like nowadays in bodybuilding, because we're gonna anecdotally, I guess, like compare them across the board to, okay, this is what this does, this, because obviously when these things enter your body, they're going to convert into testosterone. That's the point of them. They're a pro hormone. So if you took regular testosterone, like this is the same effect, because, obviously at a lower scale because of the conversion is not as is efficient. But what you're doing is like with 4-AD, that converts into your testosterone. So nowadays in bodybuilding, it used to be everybody get off the testosterone X amount of weeks out of a show and go to something that's a hardener. Now the theory is you keep the wet hormone or the testosterone in the end, and then you use like estrogen suppression to keep the physique full and hard, not stringy and ripped. You know what I mean? So it's ripped, but it's fuller, and that's what you get, that volumization in your muscles. More water retention, because there is a conversion to estrogen with the 4-ADs. It can aromatize. And when you have, like your 1-ADs, they don't aromatize like that because the aromatase enzyme can't convert it or reduce it down to, so you don't get the estrogenic effects and other things like you do with the TE. But this is the thing. This is the granddaddy of that whole stack. It's gonna, it turns, it's an androgen, so it's gonna drive your sex drive up. It's gonna drive a bit of aggression in people. It can also have a bit of sides too, but I mean, it's not, nearly as much as, if you're taking like the real deal. Like, some guys have like, if you look at most of the bodybuilding posters, everybody's bald, So this stuff doesn't attack your hair like the other stuff does. So it's kind of, it's a nice hormone. It's about as strong. The way we dose everything is about as strong as you can dose it. So, and keep it legal. That was the idea. Is we're like, you know what? Let's just go right to the edge. We're going to push it and make it the strongest, safe, legal hormone we can make. So 4AD is awesome. I think it's, you need to take it. Some of these aren't good standalones. Like some people want to like find something milder and weak, and I don't think they're as effective. It's the synergy of things. The TE you can take by itself. But, some of the other things like the WI, the Winnie, you don't want to take that on its own because it's not going to really produce profound effects, and some people might be disappointed, right?
So with the TE, do you recommend either I'm going to say generic over-the-counter PCT or something a little bit more gray, or do people need a PCT for something like TE?
Well, I think on the short run, probably not. I mean, you're not going to get a lot of suppression over 4 weeks, which is the basic mass stack. But I would say if you want to be on the safe side, we did develop an ADEX, which is a aromatase inhibitor, and that's available in those stacks. Or you can use LG as a Form XT, but we're partial to our ADEX product. I mean, we like it. Other people, you can use some, I don't know, like some people use on cycle. They'll use Rise and Slow because it's a DAA based. And that's one of our products that's real good. I mean, that thing's keeps your, it's easier to keep your system going than it is to turn it back on after you suppressed it, right? So, I mean, that's why we like the Rise and Slow.
So what do you now? Obviously, with the mass stack, I mean, is there, in order to bulk up, are you recommending obviously someone take all three, or is there something that someone can take? Maybe if someone's on a budget and wants to try to put on a little weight, is there anything in the Liquid Labs portfolio that they could take just as a standalone?
Yeah, I mean, the ones that work, I mean, PR works really well. A lot of people like that because what's the one thing that you've probably heard through this industry everybody wants, right? Right now everybody wants a 1AD. Our PR is 1AD. So it's a great hormone because you don't have the problems with the conversion again back to estrogenic and DHT as much. But what you're getting is a really strong hormone. So PR on it, I've seen people, I've asked them, I said, hey, what's your result? Well, please email me and let me know how you like this. And across the board, everybody's like, wow, really good hormone, really like it. The mass stack, I mean, I've gotten emails. I actually posted one up on the site talking about the gains. The one guy put on in 4 weeks, 40 pounds on his bench, 40 pounds on his squat, 40 on his dead, and 20 on his bench, and gained 4.5 pounds. I think he said his waist went from 36 to 32 over 4 weeks.
Wow.
And I was like, that's impressive, So obviously he's putting on lean tissue while he's dropping body fat at a pretty rapid rate for him to take some inches off his waist. I'm not sure how accurate his measurement was, but, that was his words, and I'll take him at his word, so. But, yeah, I think TE by itself is awesome, too,
Now, what would people? Now, TE you mentioned for both gaining and losing, but now what about the EQ? Would that be something to combo with, or would that be taken alone?
I mean, it can be taken alone because like EQ and it's really built to be the hormonal precursor to a boldenone, and boldenone is like known. If you go looking at the anabolic steroid version of it, it's known for red blood cell count increase, so obviously a bit better pump and delivery to your muscles, and as well it tends to harden you up and almost like a dry DECA. So it's like some people it gives their joints like relief and lean tissue gain. So I think as standalones, anything in that basic mass stack would be fine as a standalone. I think when you get into the basic cut stack, I think the MA and the the Winnie would probably be the ones that I would not just stack by them, like as a standalone. I wouldn't buy just one to do it. I mean, you could. I just don't think people will be. They might be disappointed and say, "Well, I didn't get anything out of it." When in reality, the way these things were designed is like a synergistic effect. Goes, you know what I mean?
Now, I read in the instructions, I guess, when you're taking multiples, something like don't dose them together, there should be a 10 or 15-minute window between each one. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, it's, you can, it can, the bottom line, you can be really pedantic about this, or you can be, like, obviously in the perfect world, what you'd be doing is dosing these things, like every hour, basically getting, your sublingual dose, like, in a smaller dose than like 4 mLs, you'd be taking it in like one, for 8 hours straight or something like that, every hour, every 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? Instead of like taking it, you'd split the dose so that you keep your serum level up and elevated, because the thing about pro-hormones is they tend to go up and spike faster, and they don't stay in the system at a height, you know what I mean? So whereas like you have long ester anabolics that, they have a half-life of 7 to 10 days. They're just sitting up, so you get a nice serum level of something. Whereas with pro-hormones, a little more up and down. The body tends to be able to break these down a bit faster because they're not methylated. So when you start, putting like when you start messing with the molecules too much, then you become hepatotoxic, and that's something we wanted to avoid. We don't want people with a bunch taking hormones and messing themselves up. So I mean, the way we did this is like if you take it to the direction, you'll be fine with it. You won't have any issues at all. So I can't say that across the board. Some people get issues from stuff no matter what, but I mean, on the whole, I think this is about as safe as you can get.
Now, do you recommend this better absorption on empty stomach, or is this okay to take with food?
Well, because the hormones are, they're fat soluble, like any kind of steroid hormone. So they're already in a peanut oil delivery system. So, I mean, some people find it, like, not the most pleasant thing to put under their tongue and hold sublingually. But at the same time, it's, like, the optimal delivery system. So, I mean, you can have, like, candy under your tongue and it'll taste really good, but it's not going to be as effective of a delivery system because, I mean, obviously steroids aren't water soluble in a sense. They're fat soluble. So that's why, we went to the peanut oil as a delivery system. It's more expensive than what we could have done. I mean, we could have used like water and cyclic dextrin, but we wanted to do what we could to make this the best thing we could possibly make. So,
of course, and I think obviously, the one thing that I want to point out to the listeners is obviously being in peanut oil. If you do have a peanut allergy, unfortunately, I would suggest you probably want to stay away from the products. Yeah.
That's maybe we'll come out with a allergen-free line, do like grapeseed oil or something. So
that might not be bad.
Yeah, I mean it's always a thought. I mean, we're always thinking, trying to do the best we can for our customers and try. This. I know, like from speaking to people that are on forums and different things, that the company took a hard rap for the 3-month period, but I mean, there's a whole new like nucleus in this company that's running things, and it's everybody's conscientious, everybody cares about customers, everybody's it's not just we're here to make money, we're here to like service people, and I mean obviously that's a byproduct of doing good business and taking care of your customers. You'll be profitable at some point, but we're just trying to do the right thing with customers, so give them the best products possible.
And I think that's fair because, again, like anything, to be successful, you got to put your customers first, and you guys seem like you're off to a good start, at least with that aspect, as well as good products.
Yeah, I mean, we're happy with what we have, as a product line. We feel like we stack up pretty well. Obviously, in the pro hormones, we are like I feel like we're the preeminent company when it comes to that. You had people, the market was getting messed up because some of these companies were putting out SARMs and things like Opstrine. Those things are illegal. They're not legal to sell. I mean, it's kind of gray market, but at the same time, it gives the entire supplement industry a black eye because all it's going to take is them to get the attention of, you know what I mean, to get involved with it.
I agree. So what's next in the lineup for Liquid Labs? Anything that people can look forward to down the road?
Yeah, you know, we have a reformulation of Wicked. It was pretty popular in our last formulation, the 2.1. We have a Wicked 3.0 coming out, and you know, we're kind of keeping the lid on how it's going, but you know, as far as what we're putting in it, it's going to be less stimmy, but it's going to still give you, you know, a great effect as far as it. I mean, some people love the stim stuff. So, I mean, we also carry Mesomorph from APS that's, you know, got the DMAA in it, and that stuff I've used it a few times when I've been real dragging butt, and I train at 6 in the morning, so I'll go in the gym, and this thing has me, like, honed in like a laser. But our other products, you know, we have the Nocturnus, and we have the Wicked 3.0 coming out, and the Wicked 3.0, I think they'll love it. You know, we put a lot of thought into that product.
Is that going to completely replace the 2.1, or is that going to be
like
an
it's going to be? Yeah, it's going to be. It's a step. It's an evolution. So, you know, out with the old, in with the new. So, you know, sometimes companies will have like lingering. You know, you have the 1, the 2, the 3, and the 4. I think it just, you know, you end up creating like a decision fatigue with consumers because they'll just look at something and go, well, there's 4 of them. Which one do I get? I'll just go buy the other one, you know, from the other company. So I think you can overload people with too many choices. You try to get too diverse in your line. It's like, listen, man, we got a knockout, awesome pre-workout. Let's stick that on the shelf, and we'll stand it up against anybody. We love our products. You know, it's not like we're like going online and reading what so-and-so's making and just creating another product based on theirs. I mean, it's like this is original thinking, and you know, some of the things that I've learned since being on board at this company from Eric is, you know, I mean, the guy's, like I told you, he's like a steel trap. He reads studies, and you know, he'll be talking to me about stuff, and I'm like, where do you find this stuff? Like, it's amazing to me that somebody could be that, like, you know, driven to dig things up, and it's, I don't know how, his Google search must be like crazy because he finds things, and, you know, we'll be having these conversations. I'm a pretty smart guy. Like, I got accepted into medical school, graduated with 3 degrees, and I'm like sitting there going, all right, I have to look that up, you know, because I can't keep up with some of it. But I think that product should be stellar, and we also have one that I had a hand in on. I'm kind of proud of it. It's an intra-workout drink. You know, you can use it for para-workout nutrition, so pre, post, and intra. And it's called Intrafuse, and that'll be out pretty soon. I mean, that's another one that's in production. So we have High-Tech's doing our production on some of our powders. So obviously they're a big and busy company. So we're just kind of waiting on like the final packaging, all that stuff to be put together by marketing, and then you know, hopefully we'll have it by the end of the month.
Is that going to be like a BCA blend?
Yeah, it'll have cyclic dextrin, you know, beta cyclic dextrin. It'll have Hydromax, glycerol in it. It's also going to have 2-1-1 blend of branch chains plus some bitter malon to drive a little bit of, you know, glucose into the cells. So, I mean, obviously you don't want to have a massive insulin. You know, that's why simple sugars are a terrible idea before a workout. Like some people go, I'm going to go eat a Snickers bar and go to a workout. I'm like, good luck on that, because if you train long enough, you're going to be on your nose before it's over, because although glucose is much slower, you know, the thing that cyclic dextrin is great at, it goes through the stomach like lickety split. But then it takes forever to break down those really complex molecules. So you're just bleeding off like almost like a IV drip of glucose molecules. So you just have a steady state. You're not getting insulin up into the mix. As soon as sugar will sit in your stomach because it has a high osmolality above serum, it just sits there like a rock. But then when the gate opens, that thing's gone like light speed into your bloodstream. And then what happens is you have a huge insulin response, and usually you just crash. So never a good idea to use simple sugars. Like some people ask me that when, you know, I do like diet consulting, and I'm like, no, not a good idea. Stick to the Vitargos and things that are more complex. But, you know, obviously the best one now is the beta cyclic dextrin. So we like that product.
Since you brought that up for a minute, I want to go down a different path for just a minute. What's your take on cardio in the morning, first thing in the morning. Do you promote fasted cardio or a believer of that or no?
Yeah, I am, and I know you can get there's like you'll get half the people that are going to argue one side and argue the other. You know, they'll argue the other side. Well, you know, you're going to be catabolic. You could like metabolize, you know, lean protein, take off your muscle. And my honest opinion is, you know, when you doing, especially if you're trying to lose fat, and especially if you're in contest preparation, let's just face it, bodybuilding is not normal nor healthy at that point when you're at that point, because basically what you're doing is like systemized overtraining and undereating at the same time. So to say that your body's under a bit of stress would be a misnomer. So your cortisol levels would be pretty high. So yeah, you could be more catabolic, but I mean the point is you're trying to eat a diet that's highly anabolic to, you know, high protein to keep the tissue from breaking down. The protein turnover rate I think is like 1.81, you know, per kilogram. It turns out to about, like for the average person, about 400 grams of protein turns over a day. That doesn't mean you need to eat 400 grams of protein. But what it means is that, you know, your body will get catabolic, but you control it with other things. You know, obviously if you're on hormones, like using liquid labs, I mean, that's going to help you stay in an anabolic state. And other, you know, you can do it through diet where you're not losing all your mass. So I think, you know, fasted cardio is the way to go. And the second best cardio is post-lift. So if you can't do it in the morning, like say you get up at a unruly hour like 5 a.m. like me, getting up at 4 sucks, you know, to do that. And then I would go, like back when I was doing that, I was just training at the time, so I had clients all day. So I'd be in the gym, I could do cardio from 4 to 5, then I'd train clients till, I don't know, midday, and at 11 I would train, and then I would do cardio after that. But it's like, those are the two windows I think are the most opportune, because obviously, you know, lifting is a preeminent thing that you want to do in any way. I think, like, you know, a lot of people, like the women that want to lose weight, and they get on the cardio machine, they plod along at, you know, 2.3 for an hour, and I'm just like, geez, you were reading like Elle magazine there, like really breaking a sweat. It's like, you still got to exert yourself, and I think it's best to do it AM before you put a meal in your stomach or post-lift, because, you know, you're driving the whole point is you got your glycogen levels down, so you can't really dump any more sugar back into your system, and whatever you take back in at that point in those windows is going to drive to your muscle much easier. The insulin sensitivity of the muscle cell at that point will be so high. Whatever carbs you take in, you probably want to have like simpler, you know, not crazy simple, but it'll end up in the muscle, not on your fat. So that's why I always prescribe that.
So picking your brain a little more, if you don't mind. So when upon completion of your workout, are you a shake guy? Do you eat a meal, or what's your generally post-meal, first meal right after working out?
I usually take in a shake myself. I'll do, you know, like in my workouts right now, because I'm kind of off season. I just literally let my body chill, because I dieted for 7 months straight. Went from January to July 7th. July 16th is the day I competed. So after that, I just kind of, I mean, I trained hard. I was back in the gym on Monday. I left Pittsburgh on Friday night and drove home because I didn't want to stay out there another night. I just wanted to get home and be normal. And, you know, basically from there till now, I've just been, you know, I've been training hard, but I mean, I've been peeling back the amount of volume I do and different things like that. So now it's like, you know, ramp up time again. And, you know, I tend to take in a shake. It's easier. I have a crappy appetite for being a bigger guy. Just like I eat like a bikini chick. Everybody's like, you don't have a bigger appetite? I'm like, no, I have a hard time eating. And, you know, like my buddy, he did my diet, and he goes, in the nationals, he goes, there's worse things they have than a crappy appetite when you're pre-contest. He goes, you're pretty lucky. So,
after a contest, do you have a go-to meal?
You know, like, honestly, what I had, I was in Pittsburgh. We went right across the street from the conference center, and there was a Bar Louie there, and we just went, me and my friend Melissa, we went and sat at the bar, and I had, what did I eat? I think I had a chicken wrap. I got the crispy chicken instead of the grilled chicken, and I had, like, tater tots, and she just looked at me, you going to eat tater tots? I said, hell yeah, I'm going to eat some tater tots. I haven't had not 1 ounce of crap in the past 7 months. And I go, and I had 3 mojitos. So that that got me nice and lightheaded and buzzed for a bit. She drove like halfway home, and I drove the rest because by that point I was like sober. So, but yeah, it was a nice little cheat meal. And then I tried to just honestly, I think the worst thing people do is when they come out of these diets, they just go hog wild. Well, you starve your body down to a point where it has nothing on it. The first thing it wants to do is pack some fat back on. So if you eat like a pig for 2 weeks, you're going to be a blimp. I mean, it's amazing how fast. Hard as hell to get in shape for 7 months to get peeled and your skin's cellophane thin and you're a slob in like 2 weeks. You know, it's like it's not fair, but it's I understand that the metabolism works pretty well, so I just reverse dieted my way back out of it. Like I junked for, all of Friday night, and then Saturday I had some meals and a few drinks on a friend's boat, and then Sunday I had breakfast with my daughter, and then I was back on my diet, and then Monday was like right on it, and I just kind of like I said, I went back up to about 25 or 30 grams of carbs a meal for 6 meals, so 180 a day at, 230 pounds. It took me 14 weeks to put on 19 pounds. Now I'm like right up at 250, still at about 8% body fat, so I did it the right way.
I think it's just funny because I used to compete years ago. I used to do NPC myself as a lightweight. And, people always laugh when you see these on the boards and stuff that bodybuilders and anybody in the industry, fitness, any kind of competitor, the shit that we do to our bodies at the end of the day for, as some people say, a plastic trophy or a plaque, but, it's for the love of the game.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, there's everybody. I tell people all the time, like people that do their first show, and they, I prep probably 250 athletes for shows, and probably I can say that only 5 of them, I think, at this point haven't placed in the top 5. So I'm pretty, it matters who you get. Like honestly, if you hand me a handful of shit, don't ask me to make gold out of it because I can't. But if you give me something good, I can make it great. And if you give me something, mediocre, I can make it good. But you can't take something poor and make it gold. It's just not going to happen. So, people have to understand when they get into this, like not everybody's cut out for physique sports. And the ones who are and the ones who have the drive and the determination to see a process through. I mean, I think that's the beauty of it is like can you overcome the human condition? Can you push yourself further than you ever thought you might be able to? Because I can be honest with you, there's mornings I woke up and I freaking wanted to cry. Like literally just wanted to, I was like so tired and fatigued. I just was like, this sucks. But, I won't be a jerk to people,
I've had friends just lose the diet 2-3 weeks out, after dieting, like you're saying, 12, 16 weeks, and all you can do is just shake your head, dude, you've been so close and you just ruined it. But, who am I to judge?
I hear you, it's an interesting, I mean, you're going to find out that at some point in time in that process, like what, it takes a lot of intestinal fortitude to do the same shit day after day. It's like Groundhog Day. It's like, I got to get up, I got to do cardio. But then you talk to your diet coach, and he goes, I want you to do another 5 minutes of cardio. You're like, dude, I hate 45 minutes. Why am I going to do 50? It's like that 5 minutes seems like even more drudgery. And then it's like, it's just constant. You're looking forward to counting down the days that you don't have to, this many, I don't have to do any more cardio, So it's those little, I guess, rewards or carrots, you might say, are they're pretty interesting along the way, how they can mess with it, give you that mind boost or mind crushing feeling. So,
yeah. So, David, one more question before I forget here. Going back to the Liquid Labs here, for someone that's taking a cycle, whether it's a stack or an individual, so they take it for 4 to 8 weeks. Should they then wait another? Some people say the cycle you go on, take the same time off, or what do you recommend before going on to the next Liquid Labs product?
Well, I mean, what I would do, I mean, honestly, and this is what I did this entire off prep, and this is the first time I've ever done this. When I came off my show, obviously, my body was like beat up from all the months of dieting and, supplementing and all the different things. So, and I never used the product before, the Rise and Swell. Like I said, I've only been on board with Mind and Muscle since June. I came on, and I used the Rise and Swell, and I was like, this stuff was unreal. Like, I'm usually a huge skeptic of supplements. That's why for me to tell somebody that something is really good. Most people in my gym or this entire, Southeast Michigan, if I tell somebody something, they know I'm not lying about it. Because, I won't put my name on something that's, if it was bad, I would just not use it. I wouldn't degrade it. I just wouldn't use it, and I wouldn't, I'm certainly not going to go and lie to somebody and say, yeah, it's great stuff. That product is amazing. What it did, I thought my arms were going to tear in half on Monday training. What I do to my triceps, I do chest and tris. By the end of the tricep workout, I could barely put my hand. I couldn't wash my hair. I was like, look how am I supposed to wash my hair? I got to sit in the shower for 30 minutes and wait for my arms to fall down. So I like that product as a bridge in between things. So, the DAA helps tremendously with the testicular function and literally, Eric's like, yeah, your nuts will just blow up. I'm just like, it's kind of funny to hear because, we're all involved in the process with this company. And when we're all raving about the supplement in the office, it's like, yeah, that's going to tell you that it has a lot of validity. We all use it. There's not one of us that doesn't train and doesn't use it. So I would use, I would come off at least 4 weeks. You got to bridge off, I would say, and then you want your system. If you're doing everything right, you shouldn't have suppression. But that being said, it doesn't. Everybody's biochemistry is individual. So for me to say you'll never have suppression, that'd be absolutely false for me to be able to say that because I don't know. I don't know how some people are super sensitive to things and some people aren't. You'll have guys that are like cockroaches. You'll hear him in the gym, and that guy takes how much steroids, and it's like he's still alive. And he's been doing it for 30 years. He's like a roach. And then, you probably tear into him, he's probably got roach DNA or something. And then you got other people that are like, they take their first cycle and they got bitches, So
yep.
I don't know how to quantify it, but everybody's obviously individual. I would say, that's a good rule of thumb. I would say you go on for 8 weeks, bridge off, use the Rise and Swell for, I would say 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks. I use it for 12 straight, and I know because you use it 5 on 2 off, so you don't get a lot of desensitization of the lading and interstitial. So I just kind of keep on the product, and then honestly, my strength was really good. There's no crashing off of it. I didn't lose a lot of size. I actually put on a little bit of size, and I'm still lean. So obviously, I wasn't looking for chemical ways of doing it like a lot of people want to get on the HTG. I would highly recommend, even for guys who are juicing their face off, I would say get on some Rise and Swell, and you'll be really impressed. It's a great product. Can't say enough about it. If I wasn't working for this company, I would still tell you it's an amazing product. Go buy it. So.
Nice, and it's very well dosed and it's very well priced. I can tell you that because I'm looking at the site now for $25. It's actually out of stock, so you might want to get some in after people listen to this podcast.
Yeah, I know I'm probably going to get myself in trouble. We sold through a ton of it. Like I said, right now because we're switching over to high tech do our production, so it might take a couple weeks to get it, but. No fear, we'll have it in, and if, like I said, if the worst comes to worst, we, maybe find somebody to do a short run here in Michigan for us. So,
yep.
We don't want to keep people waiting on it. So.
Well, David, I've enjoyed our conversation thus far. I don't know if there's anything else that maybe we've overlooked that you might want to address. I know it's getting late and you're coming home after a long day, but anything else that's on your mind?
No, I think we covered a lot of stuff. I'm glad that I had the opportunity to come on and talk about a company because, obviously for me, my position in this company a lot of times is to market and to make awareness about our company and I'm interfacing a lot of times with the public and your listeners and, we're just trying to do the right thing by people. And I know there's a lot of people because of the shutdown and the things that went on for where we were off the board for 90 days. I know there's some people with some they were upset about things with us, and it's not entirely in our control. Could we have done better? I'm sure we could have, but we were under a bit of a crunch ourselves, so we were trying to do the best we could to make things work out, and now we're back, and we don't plan on anything. You can't control what goes on in the government or how they look at things, but we fly right, and that's the bottom line is we're trying to do things on the up and up. Every inch of our company is done with integrity and with the best thoughts and intent. So we just want to reassure anybody that's out there listening that has possibly had bad. There's been a house cleaning here. There's an entire basically the staff is turned over. Other than our manufacturing guy's fantastic, and purchasing he's amazing. Anthony, he does. I watch that guy do he wears about 20 hats every day. So we have a really great nucleus of people, and we're just trying to basically we want to do right by everybody. So anybody that's out there listening, we're thankful that you guys support us as a company, and we're just a Michigan-based small company trying to survive amongst these mega, corporations, the BPIs and the, BSMs and things of that nature. We're just a little guy in there trying to do our part, So.
Hey, David, the website to learn about the products, mindandmuscle.com, correct?
Yes, sir, mindandmuscle.com, and then you can follow us on Facebook at Mind and Muscle, and then Twitter's The Real Mind and Muscle. So, we appreciate any the people that follow us on social media, and we restarted our forums. We had a lot of technical issues. We had our IT people, our former IT people, moved they erroneously put 3 sites up on a server, and imagine the amount of traffic that comes through Toon Sports, through Mind and Muscle, and then when we had LG, and we just got hammered, and our site we'd have problems with the forums and different things. So we have all that technical issues straightened out, and I know a lot of people. I heard some people saying they didn't care for certain attitudes that were around, but nobody in this company is a prima donna. Nobody wants to talk down to anybody. We like a good discussion, and obviously, it's nice because it teaches me a lot to be on the forum and talking to customers and talking to people in general and being able to interface and hear their their good points and the complaints, because you don't learn by getting pats on the back. You learn by making mistakes, and that's how you come back and do a better job the next time. So as a company, we're poised, I think, to make some tremendous growth. We just, had to iron out a few wrinkles with manufacturing and some other things and reformulations of products and things that we wanted to do. So sometimes you have to take a step back to take a step forward, and I think we did that, and now we're ready to just keep going, and there will be no more delays in Mind Muscle as long as we're able to do it. We should have zero issues going forward. So.
Like you said, the past is the past, and the future is upon us, and it looks very bright for you guys.
Yeah, I'm really, honestly, the new products that are coming, I think people will really, really like, and the price points will be really nice on them. You get some products out there, and everybody gets, there's guys like John Meadows who are very popular, and they have, large followings of people, and, John Meadows is a brilliant guy, but John Meadows is the only person in this world who's, capable of making things that are good too, So we may not be Prime Nutrition, but we're a good company, we make good products, and like I said, I think some of our products, we obviously specialize in pro hormones, but some of these other products I think are fantastic, and I think people could definitely benefit from using them, like the Intra Fuse that we're coming out with. If people want to contact me, they can contact me at david@mindandmuscle.com, and they can email me and ask me, and I'm pretty gracious with my time, so I can, as long as I'm not inundated with a lot of things on my plate, I try to get on some of the social media and answer some questions and do some different things. So, anybody wants to ask any questions, on our forum, we're gonna I'd like to give a shout out to 2 guys, Bill Tocco, who's I don't know if you know who Shelby Starnes is. But Bill Tocco, Shelby. Yeah, Bill's a fantastic diet coach. Actually, he ran my diet going into the Masters National. He's running a forum on a sub-forum on our forum, and Carl Jackson, who runs Team Juggernaut in Michigan. He has like Jordan Janowitz, who just finished really high. He's got a ton of great athletes. I mean, he's got a sub form on there. So it's going to be a great resource for a lot of people. I mean, these are two of the best guys in the world. So if, to be able to interact with these guys, and there's a lot of people looking for a diet coach. It's like, not everybody can afford a Matt Porter, but, there's some guys on here you can get some great advice. And, I would strongly suggest, any of the listeners out there, I mean, if you're not a member of Mind and Muscle Forum, please sign up. We'd love to have you. And I love the interaction. And, let's make this place a destination for good information. I mean, I love learning. And, I mean, I've learned a lot from, listeners. I got my ears open all the time. I'm not that guy who, I have 3 degrees, so I'm so smart, I'm so this and that. I'm not full of myself. I learn every single day, man. Every single day. I keep my mouth shut and my ears open. So
that's all you can do is keep learning, and when you stop, you're dead. But David, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure. I know the listeners are going to appreciate this. And again, to all of it. And again, any parting thoughts?
Hey, man, great show. I have the pleasure of interacting with you a little bit. I mean, you do some fantastic things, and, I'll do my part on my end to make my listeners aware, our readers and followers to be tuned into your show, because I think you do a great service for this industry because, not everybody's going to – we all play our part, and I think that you're – out there like doing the service of helping all of us get a place and a forum to speak, and we can't all be, like I said, the John Meadows of the world who get invited to speak everywhere. And we have good things to say about our company, and we do good things. We may not, like I said, we may not have the multi-million-dollar budget of some of these large companies. I mean, God bless them, but hey, we're in the fight, right? And we're putting out great products, and we're proud of what we do. And I think if you want top level products, come to Mind and Muscle, look through our stuff. I can promise you won't be disappointed.
Definitely. And once again, folks, that's Mind and the word and, not the sign, mindandmuscle.com. But I think it's also important to say that you guys have Liquid Labs, ALRI, High Tech, APS, and am I missing any other things that you guys have on there?
Oh, yeah. Well, pretty soon we're going to be carrying iForce, because High Tech bought iForce. So we'll have iForce. I know some people are fans of some of their products. And honestly, just a quick shout-out to these products. Like, we carry APS isomorph protein. You won't find too many whey isolates that are 28 grams of protein a scoop. Low fat, low carb. I'm talking like under 2 of each. And that honestly tastes really good. Like, I'm not if something's heavy, it bothers my stomach. And I've tasted wheys that just don't work with me. This stuff, it's all made from the same, like Jared gets the mozzarella cheese whey, so it's always consistent. He's not buying the cheapest whey, he's buying the one that he uses. So if mozzarella is higher at that time, they use that regardless, because that's the best. It creates a consistent product. The flavoring is not overly heavy. I mean, they're great products because, like, you don't want the thing sitting in your stomach like a lead ball, especially if you're trying to grow. I mean, you have to get meal number 2 or 3 in or whatever's behind that shake. So if the shake's sitting there like a rock in your stomach, I would highly recommend the price point is great on these things, like $31 for the APS isomorph, and that's just like straight whey isolate. And then we have the High Tech Nitro Pro, which is similar, but it has a blend. It has mostly it's like 75% isolate, and it has a little bit of concentrate and a little bit of hydroxylate in it. So it's a great product too. People are overlooking those products, and I think they, look on our site. High Tech has a ton of fat burners, like the Hydroxy. They have the Hydroxy Elite, which is like reformulation of Oxy Elite Pro. That fat burner, that was like the #1 fat burner by USP Labs. That's basically the same thing added with its Garcinia Cambogia. And then they also make Jacked Up, which is like pretty much Jack 3D with a few things, like like a blend of creatine esters and stuff like that. But fantastic products, like I said, great price points. Look on the site. You won't be disappointed, I promise.
And I think it's also important that you guys are running kind of a wink-wink Halloween special on the APS isomorph in a high-tech protein where I believe if you enter BOO, B-O-O, and the number 10, you get 10% off either of those proteins, correct?
Yeah, that was my. Yeah, if people are laughing at the code, that's my fault. I was like, all right, well, it's Halloween, boo, So yeah, boo time, and you get 10% off. Which